Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Before I start today's video, I'd just like to thank everybody who has subscribed to my channel since last week. I did a video last week on 10 ECM records in my collection, the top 10 in my opinion. And it's had a lot of views, over 7,000 and over 100 comments. And my subscribers have gone from 155 up to about 420 in 1 week. So thank you to everybody for that. Subscribe to my channel. And today's video is about Mahavishnu Orchestra. I wanted to do a video because I was inspired by Andy Edwards from the UK, who has a channel, and he's done many Mahavishnu Orchestra videos on his channel. He's done ranking videos, he's done videos on each album, and it inspired me to do my own video today. So I'm going to do a ranking video of 10 albums, which consist of 8 studio albums and 2 live albums from the Mahavishnu Orchestra. Starting out with some background, John McLaughlin was given the name Mahavishnu by his guru Sri Chinmoy, and he took that name when he formed the band and it became Mahavishnu Orchestra. But a bit of background on John. He was born in Yorkshire in 1942 and started his career in the early 60s playing with Alexis Corner and Georgie Fame and the Blue Flames, before joining the Graham Bond Quartet, which also had Jack Bruce and Ginger Baker in it, which would go on to form Cream. So after that, in 1969, he recorded his first solo album, Extrapolation. And not long after that, he got a call from Tony Williams to come to New York and join him. He was putting together his new solo project called Tony Williams Lifetime. So John went to New York and he was only there probably 2 weeks, and he found himself in the recording session for this record, Miles Davis's In a Silent Way. And this is one of the greatest jazz albums of all time, with an iconic lineup. Miles, of course, Herbie Hancock, Chick Corea, Wayne Shorter, Dave Holland, Joe Zawinul, John McLaughlin, and Tony Williams. And if you look at all the players on this record and what they would go on to do, it's quite amazing. Miles would go on in the 70s to record all the electric period albums, jazz rock fusion. Herbie Hancock would form the Headhunters and make some fantastic jazz funk albums. Chick Corea would go on to form Return to Forever, another great jazz rock band. Wayne Shorter and Joe Zawinul would start Weather Report, an iconic jazz rock band. Dave Holland formed his own quartet and quintet and went to Europe and recorded many albums for ECM and other labels as well. And Tony Williams would form Lifetime. So we go from that into the album that John did with Tony and Larry Young, Emergency, the first Tony Williams Lifetime album. It's a great album, one of the first jazz rock fusion albums of the period, being put out in 1969, and it's got some great tracks on it, fantastic music, but was not well recorded or supported by the record label at the time. So that's an iconic record there, Emergency. After that, they would go on to record their second album, Tony Williams Lifetime, called Turn It Over. And after that, John would leave the band. But also in the early 70s, he played on this record for Miles, Bitches Brew, an iconic album. He would also play on this, Jack Johnson, where he met Billy Cobham, who was in the Mahavishnu Orchestra with him, and Live Evil, which is part live, part studio. But some of the live sessions for this album were recorded at the Cellar Door in Washington DC. And backstage after one of the shows, Miles was there with John, and John was feeling a bit upset because he thought his performance that night wasn't the best up to his normal standard. So he apologised to Miles, and Miles said to him, "It's okay." And then he turned to him and said, "John, it's time to start your own band." So when Miles Davis tells you to do that, you go and do it. John had been working with Billy Cobham since recording the Tribute to Jack Johnson album with him for Miles Davis. And after that, they continued to jam together and rehearse, just the two of them, guitar and drums. Billy was born in Panama and came to New York with his family at the age of 3. So Billy was the original drummer in Mahavishnu Orchestra. Bass player Rick Laird originally started as an acoustic bass player and then switched to electric bass when joining Mahavishnu. But Rick played with many people in the 1960s, including Zoot Sims, Al Cohn, Stan Getz and Brian Auger. And he was the house bass player at Ronnie Scott's Jazz Club, where he played with Sonny Rollins and Wes Montgomery. In 1966, he moved to the States after winning a scholarship to study at Berklee College of Music in Boston. Jan Hammer was born in Prague, Czechoslovakia, and a child prodigy on the piano. He would move to the US around 1968, and he also received a scholarship to study at Berklee as well. After completing his studies, he went on to the road with Sarah Vaughan and played with her for 1 year. He then moved to New York and joined Mahavishnu. It was the fellow Czech musician Miroslav Vitaus who recommended Jan to John for the position of keyboard player. Jerry Goodman was born in Chicago. His parents were members of the string section of the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. But Jerry was a rock violinist and ended up playing in the band The Flock. He then appeared on John McLaughlin's 1971 album My Goals Beyond and joined the Mahavishnu Orchestra after that. So that's the first iconic lineup, which lasted from 1971 to 1973. They disbanded, and then the second lineup of the Mahavishnu Orchestra went from 1974 to 1976. It would include Narada Michael Walden, a great drummer, Ralph Armstrong on bass, Gail Moran on keyboards and vocals, John McPonty on electric violin, and Stu Goldberg also on keyboards. The third version of the band ran from 1984 to 1987 and included Bill Evans, the great saxophone player, Jonas Hellborg on bass, Mitchell Foreman on keyboards, and Dan Gottlieb from Pat Metheny's band on drums. Billy Cobham did play drums on the first of the 80s incarnation of the band, the first album, but not on all tracks. Dan Gottlieb was brought in after that, and then he did all the tracks on the second album. Okay, now to the ranking of the Mahavishnu Orchestra albums. And at number 10 I have this one, Mahavishnu, that was released in 1984. This doesn't have enough guitar on for me. It has a great track on called Night Riders where John really burns on the guitar, does a fantastic solo, but it's more keyboard oriented and there's a lot of synthesizer, which is still a good album, but it's at number 10 for a reason. So that's it, Mahavishnu. Number 9, we have the second one in the 1980s band, which is Adventures in Radioland. And this one I think is a bit better because there's more guitar playing on this record than the previous one. And it's, of course, John McLaughlin, Bill Evans on saxophone, Mitchell Foreman keyboards, Jonas Hellborg on the bass, double neck bass, and Dan Gottlieb on drums. So I've got that one at number 9, Adventures in Radioland. Number 8 is an album that was released in 1976, and it's the last one of the second incarnation of the band from 74 to 76. Inner Worlds. This is my original Japanese pressing from 1976, and it's got some great tracks. Miles Out is fantastic, All in the Family, In My Life, The Way of the Pilgrim, Planetary Citizen, Lotus Feet, Inner Worlds 1 and 2. It's got some great tracks, and on here we have John, of course, playing guitar, Narada Michael Walden on drums, Ralph Armstrong on bass, and Stu Goldberg on keyboards. So that's a bit more of a funky kind of album, but yeah, very enjoyable. So I've got that one at number 8. Okay, at number 7 we have the Lost Trident Sessions, which was going to be the third studio album because they started recording it in June 73. But there was a lot of conflict in the band at the time due to money and royalty payments that were going to John when other members felt they were missing out. So the sessions were canned and not put out on CD until 1999. It's basically got the 3 tracks from Between Nothingness and Eternity, the live album, which are Dream, Trilogy and Sister Andrea. But you also get an additional 3 tracks, I Wonder, Stepping Tones and John's Song Number 2, which has some fantastic guitar work on it. So that's my number 7, the Lost Trident Sessions. Okay, at number 6 we have Apocalypse, recorded in 1974. And this is the second version of the Mahavishnu Orchestra with the London Symphony Orchestra. And that's everybody involved on the back there. Quite a number of them, because it was produced by George Martin. The engineer was Jeff Emerick, so there's the Beatles connection there. And Michael Tilson Thomas does the conducting on here, with Michael Gibbs doing the orchestration. And it's a great record. Power of Love starts off on side 1, and then we go into Vision is a Naked Sword, which is really good. Smile of the Beyond, which features Gail Moran singing. And side 2 we have Wings of Karma and Hymn to Him. And George Martin rates this album as one of the great performances that he's been involved with in his whole career. So that says something pretty good about it. So that's my number 6, Apocalypse. Number 5 we have Between Nothingness and Eternity, the third album from the first lineup, and it's a live album. Iconic live album really. Only 3 tracks, but they're all fantastic. Trilogy, Dream and Sister Andrea. This is my original copy from 1973. The recording is probably a bit muffled. It sounds slightly better on the CD version, but still a wonderful album. iconic album from the Mahavishnu Orchestra. So that was number 5. Number 4, we go to another CD now. The unreleased tracks from Between Nothingness and Eternity that didn't come out till 2011. And it's 7 tracks which didn't appear on the first album, Between Nothingness and Eternity. They held them over for some reason, and I think it would have been better if they had produced it as a double live album and put everything together. It would have been fantastic. On here we get Hope, Awakening, You Know, One Word, Stepping Tones, Vital Transformation and Dance of Maya. So there's 4 tracks from the original first album, In a Mounting Flame, 2 from Birds of Fire and 1 from the Lost Trident Sessions recording. And the quality of this is really good, and that's why I've put this at number 4 above the original Between Nothingness and Eternity. It's fantastic. Number 3, and we have this one, Visions of the Emerald Beyond. And this is not my original, this is one that came out last month, and it was put out by Music on Vinyl. It's a reissue, but they did a really good job with it. It's got the kind of textured linen cover that they do, and they replicated the original gatefold with the photos inside. And a nice touch is the orange vinyl that they do, and it sounds really good for coloured vinyl. They've been doing some good work with their reissues, Music on Vinyl, and that sounds really good. And they only produced 1,000, limited edition to 1,000 copies, and mine is number 650. But back to the record, and this is really good now. The top 3 Mahavishnu records are essential if you want to get any of their stuff. Eternity's Breath Part 1 and 2 start off side 1, then it moves into Lila's Dance, Can't Stand Your Funk, Pastoral and Faith ends side 1. Side 2 kicks off with Cosmic Strut, great track. If I Could See, Be Happy, Earthship, Pegasus, which is great, Opus 1, and they finish with On the Way Home to Earth, which is amazing. So that record there, Visions of the Emerald Beyond, that's at number 3 on my list. So you know what the first 2 are going to be. At number 2 I have Birds of Fire, the second album from the original group, and just fantastic from start to finish. Birds of Fire, the title track, Miles Beyond, Celestial Terrestrial Commuters, Sapphire Bullets of Pure Love, Thousand Island Park and Hope, that's all on side 1. Then we get One Word, Sanctuary, Open Country Joy and Resolution to finish out. Iconic record from Mahavishnu Orchestra. And at number 1, of course, the In a Mounting Flame. Their first recording, their first album, and it was done over 2 days. They were given 2 days in the studio to do this. And after the first day, the recording engineer basically walked out because he couldn't handle the volume that they were playing at. In 1971 to 73, they were the loudest band in the world, and it was too much for him. So yeah, after the first day's recording session, he just walked out, and they had to get another engineer in for the second day, and his name is Don Palouse, and luckily he didn't walk out, so they captured everything basically live in the studio. They just played live, and that's what you get on this record. But it's the best jazz rock fusion album of all time. You've got side 1 opening with Meeting of the Spirits, going into Dawn, which is probably my favourite track on the album. Then we go The New Moon Race and A Lotus on Irish Streams. Side 2, Vital Transformation, The Dance of Maya, You Know, and Awakening. So it's great from start to finish. Can't go wrong with this one, The Inner Mounting Flame. So that's my ranking of the 10 records by Mahavishnu Orchestra. But now what I want to do is show a couple of things. I want to show a couple of CD box sets that you can get. And this one is the complete Columbia albums collection. So it comes in a nice box and you get a little booklet. I'll show you that. There's some great photographs inside as well. Rick Laird on bass there. And Jerry Goodman on the violin. So what do you get in this box set? You get the first album, Inner Mounting Flame. You also get Birds of Fire. You get Between Nothingness and Eternity. You get the unreleased tracks from Between Nothingness and Eternity. And you get the Lost Trident Sessions CD. So you're getting everything from the first lineup in this box set, and it's highly recommended. It's a great way to get into it if you're not into vinyls and you buy a CD, is to get that box set. I think I picked it up for just under $50. Both of these actually I got for just under $50. The second one is Mahavishnu Orchestra Original Album Classics. And again, you get 5 CDs in this box. So you get, again, The Inner Mounting Flame. You get Birds of Fire, Between Nothingness and Eternity. Then you get Apocalypse, as well as Visions of the Emerald Beyond. So another 5 great albums that you get in that CD box there. Highly recommended. Okay, now I want to get into just a few other things that you can get from the Mahavishnu Orchestra. And I want to start with this one, which is really not a Mahavishnu Orchestra album. It's a John McLaughlin, Carlos Santana album called Love, Devotion and Surrender. This is my MoFi edition. It's a nice gatefold there, nice picture with Sri Chinmoy, and he appears with them on the back. And what you're getting here is basically Mahavishnu Orchestra and Santana Band together, because you've got Carlos Santana on guitar, John McLaughlin on guitar, and he does piano as well. You've got Khalid Yassin, which is Larry Young, Armando Perazza, Billy Cobham, Don Elias, Jan Hammer, Doug Roush, and Mike Shreve. So yeah, Mahavishnu Orchestra and Santana Band together. And they do I Love Supreme, the opening piece of John Coltrane's album. They also do Naima, which appeared on Coltrane's Giant Steps. And then we go into The Life Divine, Let Us Go Into the House of the Lord, and Meditation on side 2. So that's a great one, worth checking out as well. Now some live albums. And the first one is a CD. This is Mahavishnu Orchestra live at Cornell University. And this was recorded in February 23, 1973. 1 month after the release of Birds of Fire, they recorded this. And it's a two disc set with a little booklet in the front there. and it's the original band, of course, and they're doing Birds of Fire, Miles Beyond, You Know, Dream, One Word, The Dance of Maya, Sanctuary, Lotus on Irish Streams, and Vital Transformation. So that's a good CD to get. Then I want to show this one, which a lot of people probably haven't seen. This is live in Netherlands in 1972, and it's the original band, original Mahavishnu Orchestra. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it was in Rotterdam in August 24 of 1972, from what I gather, but I could be corrected on that. That's just what I've been able to find out, because it's actually a bootleg, it's not an official release. It says down there in the corner, Atmosphere Productions. So yeah, it's obviously a bootleg of some kind. Show you the label, and it just says at the top, King of Guitars. So it's kind of weird, but it's a very good recording, and I'll just tell you the tracks that they do on it. They do Meeting of the Spirits and You Know on side A, and then side B has Dance of Maya, Lotus on Irish Stream, and a track that was on John's first solo album. On here they call it Binky's Dream, but on extrapolation it was actually Binky's Beam. So they've got the title misspelt there, but yeah, that's a great live album from '72, live in Netherlands. Then we go to this one, which isn't a Mahavishnu Orchestra album either. It's Mari Soul, and mine's promotional copy, not for sale sticker on it. This was a pop festival, the first international Puerto Rico pop festival, and I think they were trying to do a copy of Woodstock, but it didn't work out well as far as the actual event. They had a great lineup on it. It was the Allman Brothers Band, John Baldry, Cactus, Dr. John, Jonathan Edwards, Emerson Lake and Palmer, Jay Giles Band, B.B. King, then Mahavishnu Orchestra as well, and Herbie Mann, Nitzinger, and Osibisa. So it's a double album, and it opens like that, so you can see, and that's the inside. And the track that's on here that is widely recognized as one of the best live performances by the Mahavishnu Orchestra was the Numud Race. They do a 15-minute version here, and it's just brilliant. One of the greatest live performances they ever did. So yeah, Mari Soul. The festival itself had a lot of problems. It was in stifling heat and humidity, and the facilities weren't great. There was a lot of violence at the show. I think 2 people drowned and 5 people were stabbed. 1 person was hacked to death, and the females had to be escorted when they wanted to use the facilities in fear of being attacked. So it wasn't a good festival to be at, but it was a great lineup, and the Mahavishnu Orchestra did a brilliant version of the Numud Race. So that's well worth having. Okay, from there we go into a couple of recent reissues from Renaissance Records. Starting with this big monster. It's a 3-record set, and it's Mahavishnu Orchestra live at the Berkeley Community Theatre in November 9, 1972. And what you get. All the 3 discs are all on clear vinyl, so with those labels. So that's what the vinyl looks like. I take mine out of the paper sleeves that come with it, and I use these archival sleeves for all my records. But the paper sleeves that came with it are good because they have the photos of members of the band. So there's John and Jan Hammer on the other side. The band there, and Jerry Goodman, Billy Cobham, and Rick Laird. And then to show you the inside, it's a photo on the inside of the gatefold. And they're on fly here. It's a great performance, and they do a lot of extended tracks on here. Dream comes in at 23 minutes 40 seconds, 19-minute version of One Word, 20-minute version of Dance of Maya. Yeah, it's just fantastic. Miles Beyond, 15.5-minute version of that. So that's a recent reissue that's well worth getting. Mahavishnu Orchestra live at the Berkeley Community Theatre. And the second one, which was also done by Renaissance Records, is Mahavishnu Orchestra live at Yale University, which was October 28, 1973. And that's a double disc set. And just to show you that one, I'll take it out. Comes on a what they call turquoise cloud vinyl. And again, I always keep mine in these archival sleeves because I think it protects the vinyl much better. They give you these psychedelic looking paper sleeves to put them in, but I just keep them inside the cover. So on here they do Meeting of the Spirits, another 21-minute version of that, a 22-minute version of Trilogy, Sister Andrea, I Wonder, and a 20-minute version of Awakening to finish off. But that's really well recorded, and it's got a great photo of the guys on their deck chairs on the roof on the front cover. If there's any other bootlegs out there that Renaissance have got hold of, and it'd be great if they could do more versions of these types of concerts, because Mahavishnu did record a lot of their live work and they did play live a lot. So it'd be great if some more of those would come out. Lastly, I just want to show 2 great books that were written by author Walter Kolosky about the Mahavishnu Orchestra. This one is Power, Passion and Beauty, and it's 370 pages. And it's basically got everything you'd ever want to know about the Mahavishnu Orchestra in it, from people who were there at the time, and also interviews and excerpts from interviews with the band as well. It's a great book to get. And the second one is even bigger. It's 520 pages, Mahavishnu Memories, and I'm about halfway through this one now. And what it is the original band between 71 and 73, and all of their live performances documented by people who were there at the time. So you get stories from people that were at these concerts, and it lists in here the date, the city it was played at, the venue, who was the headliner, because Mahavishnu didn't always headline, they were the opening band on some occasions. On others they were the headliner, but it tells you that in this book. It gives you all that information, as well as stories from people who were there at each concert. It's taken, I think it took Walter 5 years to put that book together, but it's a very enjoyable read. So if you want to know more, this is a great one to get as well. So that's it for today's video on the Mahavishnu Orchestra. Please subscribe to my channel, it really helps me to make videos, and I've got a few planned over the coming weeks. And if you liked it, also give it a like, that really helps as well. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.